All right. So yesterday I that this is a question from 2021 June. It I couldn't solve it in the first on the first attempt. Did not understand how that could be fixed, but uh, here I have something for you. So basically, question क्या है कि how can how can you differentiate between consonant, vowel, liquid and glide? किस फीचर के मदद से ये हो सकता है? तो पहला ऑप्शन था कंटिन्यूएंट एंड ऑब्स्ट्रूएंट, फिर है वोकलिक एंड सिलेबिक, वोकलिक एंड कॉन्सोनेंटल और सिलेबिक एंड कॉन्सोनेंटल। तो देखो, पहला जो ऑप्शन है कंटिन्यूएंट एंड ऑब्स्ट्रूएंट, ये कॉन्सोनेंट वावल लिक्विड ग्लिड को क्लासिफाई कर सकता है। कंटिन्यूएंट का मतलब वावल हो गया या ग्लाइड हो गया। ऑब्स्ट्रूएंट का मतलब जैसे जिनमें वो होता है, कहीं वोकल ट्रैक्ट क्लोजर होता है, वो होते हैं ऑब्स्ट्रूएंट। तो ये तो तुम्हारा कर सकता है, कंटिन्यूएंट एंड ऑब्स्ट्रूएंट कैन डू इट। नेक्स्ट है वोकलिक एंड सिलेबिक। तो वोकलिक वोकलिक का मतलब होता है ऐसी चीजें जो वॉइस होती हैं एंड विच आर प्रोड्यूस्ड विदाउट एनी कंस्ट्रक्शन। तो वोकलिक का मतलब ये हो गया। तो अब समझ में आ गई बात। तो वोकलिक जो है वो वॉइस्ड चीजों को क्लासिफाई कर सकता है। तो वॉइस्ड चीजों में मतलब हो गया तुम्हारा वावल हो गया है, और इसके बाद तुम्हारा वावल हो ही गया, ग्लाइड हो ही गया, ग्लाइड को भी क्लासिफाई कर देगा वोकलिक। और सिलैबिक जो है, सिलैबिक में दो चीजें होती हैं, कॉन्सोनेंट्स होते हैं, सॉरी यस, कॉन्सोनेंट होता है और एक अरेस्टिंग वावल होता है। तो ये भी कर देगा कॉन्सोनेंट को, और लिक्विड को भी कर देगा सिलैबिक। इसके बाद तुम्हारा नेक्स्ट आता है वोकलिक एंड कॉन्सोनेंटल। तो वोकलिक वावल को और ग्लाइड को कर देगा, कॉन्सोनेंटल वावल को, सॉरी, कॉन्सोनेंटल कॉन्सोनेंट और लिक्विड को कर देगा। इसके बाद है तुम्हारा सिलैबिक और कॉन्सोनेंटल। तो सिलैबिक में क्या क्या चीजें होती हैं? कॉन्सोनेंट्स होते हैं एंड वावल्स होते हैं, वावल। लेकिन ग्लाइड जो होता है, ग्लाइड इज अ सेमी वावल, ठीक है, सेमी वावल होता है वो। तो सेमी वावल क्या होता है? दैट्स नॉट कंप्लीटली अ वावल बट पार्शियली, ठीक है। तो पार्शियली होने की वजह से ग्लाइड कैन नॉट पार्टिसिपेट इन द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ अ सिलेबिक सेगमेंट, ठीक है। एंड दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई syllabic cannot classify, it cannot classify for glides, right? ग्लाइड के लिए ये क्लासिफाई नहीं कर सकता है। सिलेबिक का मतलब ये कॉन्सोनेंट या वावल के बारे में बात कर सकता है, लेकिन ग्लाइड के बारे में बात नहीं कर सकता है, बिकॉज ग्लाइड इज नॉट अ वावल, है ना। एंड सिलेबिक का कंसेप्ट ही यही है कि अरेस्टिंग वावल होगा एक, एक कॉन्सोनेंट होगा उसमें इन्वॉल्व, और जो भी पैटर्न हो कॉन्सोनेंट और वॉवल के कॉम्बिनेशंस का। एंड देन कॉन्सोनेंटल कॉन्सोनेंटल तो तेरा कॉन्सोनेंट एंड लिक्विड को क्लासिफाई कर ही सकता है। सो दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई सिलैबिक एंड कॉन्सोनेंटल फेल टू क्लासिफाई बिटवीन कॉन्सोनेंट, वावल, लिक्विड एंड ग्लाइड, right? So that that question, it was a clarification on that question. Apart from this, distinctive feature theory is certainly a little complex. It needs deeper readings, so I'll come up with it. आगे let's solve ये वाले questions. जून पेपर 2 है ना, कि जो रेस्ट ऑफ द लेफ्ट आउट क्वेश्चंस थे उनको सॉल्व करके खत्म कर दो. तो स्पेशल ग्रुप का मतलब हो गया रजिस्टर, राइट. अगला आइडिया, लोगोग्राफ, लैंग्वेज एंड थॉट, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, glottal stop, यहाँ पे जरूरत पड़ेगी. So I've sent you a set of questions in the text, and I want you to ask me questions. I want you to take up questions from the text and ask me the questions along with the corresponding answers, along with the options, right? So you also need to give me the options that are provided in the corresponding questions that are mentioned in the text, and wait for me to respond, and then reassure if my answer was correct or incorrect, and then go on to the next question.
All right, let's get started with the first question. Question 1. Language and thought. A, purity. B, logograph. C, register. D, Sapir-Whorf. What's your answer?
Language and thought is related with Sapir-Whorf. Let's talk about the glottal stop question. The next one.
Correct. The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is indeed related to language and thought. Now, moving on to the next one. Question 2. Glottal stop. A, glottis is narrowed and arytenoids are kept apart. B, glottis is in vibration and arytenoids are kept tightly together. C, glottis is closed and arytenoids are held together. D, glottis is open and arytenoids are kept apart. What's your answer?
So in the glottal stop, I believe the glottis is closed and the arytenoids are held together.
That's correct. In a glottal stop, the glottis is indeed closed and the arytenoids are held together. Let's move on to the next question. Question 3. Whisper. A, glottis is narrowed and arytenoids are kept apart. B, glottis is in vibration and arytenoids are kept tightly together. C, glottis is closed and arytenoids are held together. D, glottis is open and arytenoids are kept apart. What's your answer?
For the whisper sounds, I believe glottis is in vibration and arytenoids are kept tightly together.
Actually, the correct answer for whispering is that the glottis is narrowed and arytenoids are kept apart. In a whisper, the vocal cords don't vibrate, which is why the sound is soft and airy. Ready for the next one?
So in the whisper sounds, the glottis is narrowed. That's why the sound is airy. Like whisper is something like whisper.
In whispering, the narrowing of the glottis allows just enough air to pass through, creating that soft, breathy sound without the vocal cords vibrating. It's a unique way to produce sound. Let's continue. Question 4. Creaky voice. A, glottis is narrowed and arytenoids are kept apart. B, glottis is in vibration and arytenoids are kept tightly together. C, glottis is closed and arytenoids are held together. D, glottis is open and arytenoids are kept apart. What's your answer?
In the creaky voice, the glottis is in vibration and the arytenoids are kept tightly together. Elaborate a little on the production of creaky sound, creaky voice.
You're correct. In a creaky voice, the glottis is indeed in vibration, and the arytenoids are held tightly together. To elaborate, a creaky voice, also known as vocal fry, occurs when the vocal cords are very tightly compressed and vibrate slowly and irregularly. This creates a low-pitched popping or rattling sound. It's the lowest vocal register and is often used at the ends of phrases in casual speech. The tightness of the arytenoids, the small cartilages at the back of the vocal cords, contributes to the distinct creaky quality of the voice. Shall we move on to the next question?
So, in the production of voiceless sounds, the glottis is open and the arytenoids are kept apart. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. In the production of voiceless sounds, the glottis is open and the arytenoids are kept apart, allowing air to flow through without vibrating the vocal cords. This lack of vibration is what makes the sound voiceless, like in the pronunciation of sounds like P, T, or S. Ready for the next question?
And in the production of the glottal stop, the glottis is closed and arytenoids are held together. Is that correct?
In the production of a glottal stop, the glottis is closed and the arytenoids are held together, completely stopping the airflow momentarily. When the glottis opens, the air is released, creating the characteristic sound of a glottal stop, like the catch in the throat you might hear in the middle of uh-oh. Shall we continue with the next question?
And in the production of the whisper sounds, the glottis is narrowed and the arytenoids are kept apart. The glottis is narrowed, whereas the arytenoids are still kept apart. Is that true about the whisper sound?
Yes, that's absolutely true. In whispering, the glottis is narrowed, which restricts airflow and prevents the vocal cords from vibrating, but the arytenoids are kept apart. This setup allows air to pass through with a soft, breathy quality, creating the distinctive sound of a whisper. Would you like to go over another question?
And in the production of the creaky voice, the glottis is in vibration and the arytenoids are kept tightly together. So the arytenoids come together very tightly, whereas the glottis is still in vibration. So that produces the creaky voice. Is that correct?
Actually, in the production of a creaky voice, the glottis is in vibration, but it's more accurate to say that the vocal cords are tightly compressed, not just the arytenoids. The arytenoids help keep the vocal cords tightly together, which is why the voice sounds creaky. So it's the tight closure of the vocal cords and their slow, irregular vibration that produce that distinctive creaky sound. Ready for the next question?
So could you summarize the position and the movement of the glottis and arytenoids in the production of voiceless sounds, glottal stop, a creaky voice, and whisper sound?
Sure. Here's a quick summary. Voiceless sounds, the glottis is open and the arytenoids are kept apart, allowing air to flow without vocal cord vibration. Glottal stop. The glottis is closed and the arytenoids are held tightly together, momentarily stopping the airflow. Creaky voice. The vocal cords are tightly compressed, the glottis is in vibration, and the arytenoids help keep the vocal cords tightly together, producing a creaky sound. Whisper. The glottis is narrowed and the arytenoids are kept apart, allowing air to pass through without vocal cord vibration, resulting in a soft, breathy sound. Does this help?
Yes. So the next question is movement of velum that corresponds with nasality. Next is the reinforced chest pulse that correlates with stress. So chest pulse relates with syllable, whereas reinforced chest pulse relates with stress. Now, what I want you to do is I want you I want you to elaborate more on, I want you to give me a simple explanation, that is easy to understand, regarding both of these, and I also want you to follow this by a complex explanation on what is this phenomena actually about. Both of these phenomena, the chest pulse and the reinforced chest pulse, and how it relates to stress and syllable.
Sure. Let's start with simple explanations for both. Think of this as a strong, noticeable beat or emphasis you can feel in your chest when you stress certain syllables in speech. It's like a forceful thump that makes certain parts of words stand out. Chest pulse. This is the regular rhythm or beat you might feel in your chest when speaking, but it doesn't emphasize specific syllables. It's more about the general rhythm of your speech. Now for the complex explanation. Reinforced chest pulse. This refers to the phenomenon where the vocal folds are adjusted to create a stronger, more pronounced vocal effort during stressed syllables. The stress in speech is often marked by increased intensity and pitch, which can be felt as a reinforced pulse in the chest due to the increased air pressure and vocal fold tension. Stress is crucial in distinguishing meaning and emphasizing parts of a sentence. Chest pulse. This is a more basic rhythm that occurs with normal speech. It involves the consistent, rhythmic vibrations of the vocal folds during speech production, but doesn't necessarily involve the increased force or pitch changes seen in stressed syllables. It reflects the fundamental rhythmic pattern of speech without specific emphasis. So, while both involve vocal effort and airflow, reinforced chest pulse is more about emphasizing particular syllables, stress, whereas chest pulse is about the overall rhythm of speech without specific emphasis. Does that make sense?
Yes, it certainly does. Now let's move on to the next question. Adjustment of glottis correlates with voice. Now, I want you to elaborate the mechanism that goes behind this relation.
Sure. The adjustment of the glottis is central to the production of voice. Here's how it works. When you speak, the vocal cords are situated within the glottis, the space between them. The adjustment of the glottis involves changing the tension and position of these vocal cords, which directly affects the sound produced. 1. Vocal fold tension. By adjusting the tension of the vocal cords, you control how tightly they come together. When they're tightly stretched, they vibrate more rapidly, producing higher pitched sounds. When they're relaxed, they vibrate more slowly, creating lower pitched sounds. 2. Glottal opening. The width of the glottis, or the space between the vocal cords, also changes. A wider glottis results in a breathy voice, while a narrower glottis allows for a more clear and distinct sound. 3. Air pressure. The adjustment of the glottis affects how much air pressure is built up and released during phonation. This pressure impacts the volume and intensity of the voice. In summary, the adjustment of the glottis through tension, opening, and air pressure determines the pitch, volume, and quality of the voice. This is why the glottis plays a crucial role in vocal production. Does this explanation help clarify things?
Yes, it certainly does. Now let's move on to the next one, delexicalization. Or delexicalization, it is the bleaching of the meaning of the word. Bleaching as in removal of the meaning aspect of a word. Now, could you elaborate more on what it really is?
Certainly. Delexicalization refers to the process where a word or phrase loses its specific original meaning and becomes more of a grammatical tool in sentences. For example, consider the verb do. Originally, do had a specific meaning, like to perform an action. However, in many contexts, especially in phrases like I do the dishes, the verb do doesn't convey much meaning on its own. Instead, it acts as a grammatical placeholder or function word that helps form a sentence structure. Bleaching in this context means that the word has shifted from carrying a rich, specific meaning to serving a more abstract or grammatical role. This can happen with various words over time, particularly those that become very common in everyday language. In summary, delexicalization is when a word's meaning becomes less specific and more about serving a grammatical purpose rather than concept or action. Does that make it clearer?
Yes, it does. It certainly does. Now, next is the finite verb. It relates with the conjugated form of a verb in the sentence. Now, the next is empty morpheme. Empty morpheme it has form, but it does not have meaning. Now, the next after this is Bodish. So Bodish is a Bodish relates with Kinnori and no, Bodish relates with Balti, the Balti language that is spoken in Baltistan. Baltistan is probably a region in somewhere around Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir. Elaborate more on this Bodish, Balti, Baltistan, Jammu and Kashmir. Elaborate more on what like give me some information about it.
Certainly. Bodish refers to a group of languages spoken in the Himalayan region. It's a branch of the Tibeto-Burman language family. The Bodish languages are primarily spoken in areas like Tibet, parts of Nepal, and northern India. Balti is one of the Bodish languages. It is spoken in the Baltistan region, which is located in the northern part of the Pakistan-administered Gilgit-Baltistan region. Baltistan is indeed close to the Kashmir region, which includes parts of the Indian-administered Jammu and Kashmir. The Balti language has influences from Tibetan and has unique linguistic features that set it apart from other languages in the region. It's spoken by the Balti people, who live in the high-altitude regions of Baltistan. So in summary, Bodish is a larger language group that includes Balti, which is spoken in the Baltistan region, near the Jammu and Kashmir area. This region is known for its diverse cultures and languages due to its historical and geographical significance. Does that give you a clearer picture?
So, what you mean to say is that the Balti people or the Baltistan region speaks a language which is influenced by the languages spoken in probably Tibet or the Tibetan languages. Is that true? Because Balti people, so Baltistan and Jammu and Kashmir, these people are majorly Muslim people. Muslim people, as in they follow the Muslim religion. So what you are saying is that the Muslim people, they speak a language which is related with the Tibetan people. Is that what you are trying to say?
Yes, that's correct. The Balti language spoken in Baltistan is influenced by Tibetan languages. This influence comes from historical interactions and geographic proximity to Tibet. Although the Balti people are predominantly Muslim, the language they speak has significant Tibetan linguistic features due to historical and cultural exchanges between the region and Tibet. This kind of linguistic influence is not unusual in regions where different cultures and languages have interacted over centuries. So, while the religion of the people in the Baltistan region is predominantly Muslim, their language still carries elements from the Tibetan language due to historical influences and interactions.
Now, Northeast Indian Tibeto-Burman group relates with Bodo Garo branch. Now, I want you to elaborate a little more on this.
Certainly, the Northeast Indian Tibeto-Burman group refers to a collection of languages spoken in the northeastern part of India, which belongs to the larger Tibeto-Burman family. This language family is part of the Sino-Tibetan language family and is prevalent in the Himalayas and surrounding regions. The Bodo-Garo branch is one of the subgroups within this Tibeto-Burman family. It includes languages spoken primarily in the northeastern Indian states, like Assam, Meghalaya, and parts of neighboring regions. The Bodo-Garo languages are spoken by various ethnic groups in this area. Bodo is one of the prominent languages in this branch, and it is spoken by the Bodo people in Assam. The Garo language is spoken by the Garo people in Meghalaya. These languages share certain linguistic features and historical connections, which tie them together in this branch of the Tibeto-Burman family. In summary, the Bodo-Garo branch encompasses languages spoken in the northeastern Indian region, and these languages are part of the larger Tibeto-Burman family.
Now, the next is Himachal Pradesh Tibeto-Burman group. Himachal Pradesh Tibeto-Burman group relates with Kinori and Lahuli. Now, elaborate more on that.
Certainly, the Himachal Pradesh Tibeto-Burman group refers to a subset of Tibeto-Burman languages spoken in the Indian state of Himachal Pradesh. This group includes languages like Kinnauri and Lahauli, which are spoken in the high-altitude regions of Himachal Pradesh. Kinnauri is spoken in the Kinnar district of Himachal Pradesh. It's a Tibetic language with influences from Tibetan due to historical and cultural exchanges with Tibet. Kinnauri has several dialects, reflecting the diverse linguistic landscape of the region. Lahauli is spoken in the Lahaul and Spiti districts, which are also in Himachal Pradesh. It shares similarities with Kinnauri and other Tibetic languages, reflecting the close cultural and historical ties in this region. Both Kinnauri and Lahauli belong to the broader Tibeto-Burman family and exhibit characteristics of languages spoken in the Himalayan region, influenced by both Tibetan and local languages. In summary, these languages are part of the Himachal Pradesh Tibeto-Burman group, reflecting the region's rich linguistic and cultural heritage.
Now, the next is anomia. Anomia reflects the problems in naming. Now, elaborate more on that.
Anomia is a type of language impairment where individuals have difficulty finding and producing the correct words, especially when trying to name objects, people, or concepts. This problem often occurs despite the person's ability to understand language and know what they want to say. Here's a bit more detail. 1. Symptoms. People with anomia may struggle to recall specific names during conversations, or may use vague terms like thing or stuff instead of precise words. They might know the concept or object they want to refer to, but have trouble retrieving the exact word. 2. Causes. Anomia can result from brain injuries, strokes, or neurodegenerative conditions like aphasia or Alzheimer's disease. It affects the language centers in the brain, particularly those involved in word retrieval and storage. 3. Impact. This condition can significantly affect communication and daily interactions, as it disrupts the flow of conversation and can lead to frustration or embarrassment for the person experiencing it. In summary, anomia involves difficulties with naming and word retrieval, while other aspects of language comprehension and production may remain intact.
So problems in the corpus callosum could be, could be reasons why a person is suffering from anomia.
Yes, issues with the corpus callosum can contribute to anomia. The corpus callosum is the structure that connects the two hemispheres of the brain and facilitates communication between them. If there are problems with this connection, such as due to injury, stroke, or a neurological condition, it can disrupt the flow of information between the language areas in both hemispheres. This disruption can impair word retrieval and naming abilities, contributing to anomia. So, while anomia is primarily linked to areas involved in language processing, problems with the corpus callosum can indeed play a role in the condition.
Now, the next is dyslexia. Dyslexia correlates with telegraphic speech.
Dyslexia is a learning disability that primarily affects reading and language processing skills. People with dyslexia often have difficulty with 1. Reading fluency. They might struggle with reading smoothly and accurately. 2. Word recognition. Recognizing and decoding words can be challenging. 3. Spelling and writing. They may have trouble with spelling and organizing their writing. Dyslexia isn't related to intelligence. Individuals with dyslexia often have average or above average intelligence. It is thought to be caused by differences in the way the brain processes written and spoken language. Effective strategies and interventions, such as specialized reading programs and educational support, can help individuals with dyslexia improve their reading skills and manage the challenges they face.
पिया तो से नैना लगे रे, नैना लगे रे, पिया तो से नैना लगे रे. Fuck you doing, bro?
Sorry, I'm having issues right now.
I know that.
Our systems are experiencing heavy load.
Go fuck
Please
yourself.
try again later.
I don't want. All right, let's move on to the next question. Amnesia. Amnesia, telegraphic speech, problem of understanding music, learning difficulties. I think amnesia correlates with problems in understanding music. Can you elaborate more on that?
Actually, amnesia generally refers to memory loss rather than difficulties with understanding music. Amnesia is a condition where a person loses memories, which can affect their ability to recall past events or learn new information. The confusion might come from a different condition. For example, amusia is a condition related to difficulties with processing music, such as recognizing melodies or rhythms. In contrast, telegraphic speech is a type of speech pattern often seen in young children or individuals with certain types of aphasia, where sentences are reduced to essential words, much like a telegram. So, to clarify, amnesia deals with memory loss, while problems with understanding music are related to amusia, not amnesia.
So amnesia is related to telegraphic speech, whereas amusia is related to problems in understanding music.
Actually, amnesia is not directly related to telegraphic speech. Amnesia involves memory loss, affecting a person's ability to recall information or events. Telegraphic speech is a speech pattern where only essential words are used, typically seen in early language development or certain types of aphasia. Amusia, on the other hand, is indeed related to difficulties with understanding music, such as problems with recognizing melodies or rhythms. So, to summarize, amnesia involves memory loss, Telegraphic speech is a simplified speech pattern, and amusia relates to difficulties with music processing.
So that's done, completed. 2014 June, paper 2.
Got it. If you have any more questions or need further help